guys? Blue Kool-Aid here. Hey, I got you over at Schumann Resonance, guys. We're seeing a funky little anomaly here. These three little signatures here. Those aren't normal. Okay, I've never seen them. I've been watching this for over a year now. Robin in the comment section asked me to look at this. I had already seen it, but I just kind of skimmed over it like it just didn't, resonate with me. Get that? Schumann Resonance, resonate, yeah. Little joke there. Anyway, I seen this, but she pointed it out, and so did others, and it's like, I better go look at this again. So, anyway, a normal anomaly on here, guys, would look more like what's over here, okay? You see the intensity, right, which is the white. That's how intense it is. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual frequency number, okay? All that is the frequency number is, the intensity shows up at whatever frequency. It just tells you how hard that frequency is hitting, okay? So anything that shows up at, say, 0-100 hours on this line would show up on this line, right? No matter how intense. So, say 40 hertz would show up here, no matter how intense. 20 would show up there, right? So, why is this even important? Well, because right here, guys, we shouldn't be seeing these dead spaces, okay? So what this is telling me, at least in my mind, and if I'm wrong, guys, somebody please correct me, because I really want to get this right. I want to learn. Anyway, what I'm seeing is, pretend that I'm this middle anomaly. Somebody that weighs 30 pounds less than me is this one. Somebody that weighs 30 pounds more than me is this one. Okay? We all three jump up in the air and smack our foot on the ground, right? We generate a frequency, a vibration. Well, the bigger guy is going to do this one because it's higher frequency. Little guy over here and me in the middle, right? Now, why am I saying that? Because, like I said, we shouldn't be seeing these dead spots in between. If say I created if I'm in the middle here, right, at 20 hertz, right? So anything up to 20 hertz should be showing up. Because in order to get to 20 hertz, I think you have to go through the other ones, I would think. I don't know for sure if that's how it actually works, but seeing this, I've never seen this anomaly, and a lot of other people haven't either. So basically what I'm saying is, it would take three sources right here to create these three separate anomalies without them being connected like this one over here. Okay? So it'd be like all three of us jumped up in the air, smacked our foot on the ground at the exact same time, multiple times in a 7-hour period to create this shape. See how unlikely that sounds? So I don't think this was natural. And, did it affect anybody or anything? Probably not. But the bigger question is, what caused it? That's another thing we need to look at. I couldn't begin to tell you what caused that. I'm just having a hard time even understanding how that can happen, let alone the actual source of all that. But anyway, we're going to go on to the next subject. Hey, this right here was information that was passed on to Scott Sion from Job Maverick. It's a video. And what this is going to show you, this is our solar system, guys. Okay? And this is back in 1970. Look at these two numbers down here. Okay? The one on the left is the year. The one on the right is the actual number of objects that's been captured by the sun. When I say captured, it means it's drug it into its gravitation. It's caught it. Now, something else I want to keep in mind, everybody keep in mind here, we are the ones probably moving into this stuff. Okay? And you'll see what I mean here in a second. But obviously the sun's right there. Then you got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Jupiter's way over here somewhere. Okay? See that? Now, there was 4,422 objects detected in 1970. And we also have to keep in mind our technology has gotten just a touch better, I would think. But, so we may be detecting things better. So there might have been a few more around, but not these numbers I'm getting ready to show you. Okay? So we have to keep that in mind, but at the same time, this is like, wow, is what I'm saying. In 28 years, this is 1998, 48,900 objects. That is an increase of 44,000 objects. Okay, if that doesn't shock you, I don't know what will. Okay, 28 years, you got 44,000 extra objects. Now, do not think that most of these objects attract to one another, because they don't. Most things in space try to repel from one another. That's why we don't crash into everybody all the time. Okay, does it happen from time to time? Of course it does. We all have seen craters and all those kinds of things. Could this be part of the reason why we're seeing meteorites? Probably. Is this part of the debris field that we talk about? I wouldn't think so. I still think there's a debris field that we're going to probably pass through. You will if any kind of system, even comes close to our inner solar system, there's going to be some level of debris with it. But, I don't even call it Nemesis, Planet X, Nibiru. I don't even call it that stuff anymore, because I simply couldn't pick out an object and tell you what it is. I can just tell you that there's an object there. And that, for the most part, it probably won't matter which one it is, because if they're stellar cores, all those other kinds of things, they're still going to affect our planet and our solar system. So, with that being said, again, this is 28 years, 44,000 extra objects. Now, this is where it becomes crazy. In 7 years, 2005, look at that. Okay, what I'm trying to point out here is the amount of increase. From 1970 to 1998, 28 years, it picked up 44,000 objects. Okay, I know this is going to sound kind of crazy the way I word this, but only 44,000 objects in a 28-year period. Now, in a 7-year period, we picked up roughly 250,000 more. Okay, does that not just like push you back in your seat? I mean, look at that. And then 10 more years, 350,000 more. So, to put this in perspective, from 1970, 4,422 objects. 49 years later, 684,628 objects. These are objects that are currently there. These are not objects that came and went. These objects are there. Alright? It detected them. Well, I guess they might not be exactly there. The sun might have ejected some of these on out. I don't know for sure. That part of this, if that's what this tool is actually trying to represent, if it represents stuff that was here in the left plus stuff that's still here, or if it's just stuff that's still here. Basically, what I'm trying to say here, guys, we're in a crowded neighborhood, and I don't think they're the ones moving in. I think we're the ones that have moved in. Just letting you know that. We're traveling through space. Everybody knows that. Well, most of us believe that. And, I think we're getting into a crowded area, and I think that this is just part of it. And I do think, I still think there's a nemesis and all those. The system here, we've detected it. We've seen it. There's lots of evidence to prove any of this, that something's there anyway. But this is pretty good evidence, guys, to show you that, hey, there's stuff in our solar system that they just don't want us to know about. Okay? Now, I'm going to go into a subject here that I don't like to talk about, but I'm going to anyway. A lot of channels get accused of fear-mongering. Okay? There's some out there that actually do fear-monger to get views or what have you. And then there's other channels out there that put out what some people like to try to misconstrue as clickbait or what have you. But the difference is when somebody says something that's actually fear-mongering, they're going to take that and they're going to elaborate on that particular statement to try to make it look worse than it actually is. Okay? To make you fearful, so you want to keep watching or whatever you're doing. I don't know. just for the drama factor. I don't know. But if you put a video up, or write a paper or article, or have a website, whatever, and you have a title to that, okay, and that title sounds pretty cataclysmic, but you don't get on there and elaborate. You actually show the data, you show the observations, you do this, you do that, in an effort to show somebody something that's there. Not for sole purpose to scare somebody. Okay, that's the difference, guys. Alright, if you just say something just out of the blue and claim that it's the worst thing that's ever going to happen. If I go out and say, the sky is falling, the old Chicken Little thing, and have no evidence of it, well, yeah, of course, that is fear-mongering. But if I truly believe what I'm saying, and if I have data to support me, pictures, captures, just any kind of data, all right, observations, that's not fear-mongering. That's just telling you a story. That's telling you basically like news or information. Okay, that's the difference. Now, like I said, we get it. There's a lot of people in this community that get accused of fear-mongering. They're really not. Okay? Now, this is what I would say to you guys that or even just to everybody. I would challenge everybody to shut their phones off, their TV. Okay? Back in the day, a lot of people would call that going to their prayer closet. Okay? Shut the door. Leave the world back there for a minute. Okay? And as you're, praying or what have you, or whatever you do, what I suggest is to think back to the event that you, don't even have to be an event, it could be anything, okay, that you were the most scared that you can remember. All right? And once you figure that out, then you ask yourself, well, why was it so scary? Or why was it so fearful? Well, I would almost bet that probably about 75 to even 90% of the time, it would be because of what we call the shock factor. Okay? We've all heard of jump scares in like horror movies. It's very similar to that. If we don't think something's going to happen, or have no idea something's going to happen, and it does, it scares us way more than if we knew that it was coming. Okay? Why am I saying this? Okay, this is what I would liken it to. All right. Now, I know this is kind of a dark example, but this is how I see it. I think most of us have had family members pass away abruptly. Okay, not something that was even halfway planned or halfway, halfway expected, I should say. I had a grandpa pass away, a couple years ago from an aneurysm. All right. Nobody had any idea that was going to happen, but it did. And it was shocking. And I can tell you this, that it was very, very shocking, and it affected me very, very deeply. Okay. Now, if I compare that to my grandma, which was his wife, that had gotten cancer 10 years ago, and it took her 6 or 7 years to pass away, I can tell you that at the moment of her death, I was not as scared as what I was when I found out my grandpa had passed. Just because I knew my grandma was going to pass. I knew that. All right, now, does it, I'm not even talking about how horrible it is to pass away like that in a long, drawn-out time. I'm talking about the way that it affects your mind. Okay? I bet if everybody sits back and looks at whatever event this is that scared you the most ever in your life, it's going to be something that was not expected. Okay? So when we show you this kind of stuff, and when we talk about this kind of stuff, this is actually doing the opposite. Okay? People don't really see that, and they don't really talk about it a whole lot, because we simply don't. Because if we started to address this would be a lot of the conversation all the time. And we would never get any research done or any kind of new information, any of that. So I would challenge everybody to sit back and think about the time that they were the most scared. And I would bet that that time ended up being some sort of shock factor. All right? So if we can show you this, when this stuff actually does affect us cataclysmically, you will not be as scared that moment as you would have been if you had no inclination that this was going to happen. Okay? So we're actually doing the opposite of what a lot of us get accused of. I don't get accused of it a whole lot. I don't know why. I guess maybe I don't. I just don't know. Maybe I'm not hitting those big time subjects. I don't know. Maybe it's the way I present my material. I don't try intentionally not to fear monger because I don't have to. Because I'm not. That's what I'm trying to say. And people get misunderstood when they're just trying to help. And so, the whole fear-mongering thing, that whole thing just needs to go away. It's the time for the kid gloves are gone. We can't sit back and just do nothing or tell you guys nothing. Those of us that are trying to research this and help. So I just wanted you guys to know that, and I would challenge you guys to kind of, like I said, think back in your life. Figure that out when the most scared you were, and I bet it's a shock factor. Okay? So if I can help somebody not be shocked when stuff like this happens, you better bet I'm going to do it. Okay? That's why we do it. We don't do this to scare anybody. I do the exact opposite. You guys see it in my videos every day. You guys see my intro. It says no fear straight up on the first picture. And that's what I'm about. And that's what most of us are about. All right? I mean, Steve at WSO, Scott, Planet X News, Maverick, Relentless Maverick, myself, any other channel, Jeff P, anybody, guys, that reports on this stuff. We're not trying, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't really think that those guys or myself is fear-mongering, at least on purpose. I mean, there's going to be titles that we just simply can't dumb down and make it seem a little bit like, fluffy clouds and stuff, man. I mean, there's just stuff, the subject we're talking about is serious. So, just kind of keep that in mind, guys. I mean, try to cut some of us some slack when we do report on stuff like that, especially the hard subjects. I just wanted to put that out, guys. Anyway, guys, God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.